Hello, and welcome to the DTF report. Going into week 12, it is I, Dick Thunder Lips, here for you, heroes of fantasy, as we push into the playoffs. There's only 1 week left, as we take a look at the action that transpired last week. Let's take a gandaroo as we recap week 11. And here we go. Roberto Gomez goes to 6-5 as he defeats the poor Professor 121 to 111. The Professor scoring well, a solid day, but it's not enough to beat Babalu as we take a look. A resurgent Drew Brees, enough to help overcome the might of Oscar's team. That Cerro Goose Egg from Roberto Woods and the 2.8 from Darren Fells surely did not help in a matchup where the baby Chark struck, baby. 30 points, a return to relevancy for Mr. Shark himself, while his namesake Sanu continues to be, well, sorta nothing. Sanud, out of here. Anywho, something rhymes with Sanu, I don't know what it is, but until then, those Sanu jokes are gonna fall flat, folks. Sorry about that. But Kirk Cousins doing some voodoo on the bench, slightly outscoring Drew Brees. But anywho, Babalu keeping the playoff hopes alive with a big dub. Can he keep it going? Can Oscar finish better than CJ going into the Battle Royale? We will find out as we look at the next matchup. Please hold. Believe it or not, I'm walking on whatever the rest of this name says. Matt Segovia's team versus the Real Flash Gordon and Steven Naramore dealt another devastating blow as he loses 116 to 100. And as we take a look at the matchup, sorry, I keep misclickarooing here. Mahomes not exactly doing Mahomes things, but John Brown thinks he's Julio Jones, dropping 34.7, making up for Julio Jones not being Julio Jones, only dropping 14. But hey, that was enough to overcome the goose egg of DJ David Johnson disappearing. 0 points, baby, but Matt Segovia got enough juice from the rest of the team. While on the other side of the ball, Michael Gallup tried to carry his own into victory, but this was not enough. As we see Phillip Rivers disappointing outing, as was Carson Wentz, and not much ado on this bench besides Gus Edwards getting some usage and a blowout dub. All right there. But boy, if Mr. Ingram gets hurt, Gus Edwards will be one to watch as Matt Segovia hangs onto the playoff hopes ever so tightly. And we move forward as Elza Van Jaz fall to El Ezekiel. 142 to 98. A hot sauce score from Freddy's Ezekiel squad led by his namesake with a solid 19 points. Mark Ingram dropping 23 before Gus Edwards took over, baby. Freddie had a great day from almost everyone, including 19 from the D. And on the other side, meanwhile, disappointment from RB. And that'll sink you every time as L's poop squad disappointed. Devontae Parker and Randall Cobb, the only shining lights. And when those are your shining lights, you know you're deep in the shit, folks. As El Ezekiel picks up a win, it's going to be a tough one. Doesn't look like it's enough to make the playoffs, folks. We'll take a look at the standings after the recaps. But don't give up. There's still the Battle Royal, remember. As we look on, as we saw a clash of titans. 2 first-place teams, 2 teams at the top. Well, not first in the case of Adrian, but hey, he's at the top. But Hot Chub Time Machine Jay Sizzle picks up a big dub, 126 to 119 against the reigning defending champion, Adrian. And you gotta think, this was a big one. There was a lot of poop talk had to be in the Discord chat as Adrian was trying to claim J-Sex's eyes, and J-Sex just said, "Hold my beer," while Lamar Jackson runs all over you like a little dancer boy that he is. Look at this. What a clash of titans. And it comes down to the fact that Adrian didn't trust Garoppolo, switched to David Carr, and that difference might have just been enough to put it over the top in J-Sex's favor. Look at Kareem Hunt and Chubb both doing work combined are a complete player. It's adorable. J-Sex gotta get his shit together before the playoffs, but this was a big one, baby. This is a big one. Adrian still scoring well throughout. Got shit on in what is a possible playoff preview. Folks, this is what it looks like to be a contender and not a pretender. Well, except for Adrian, we all know Tyree does all the work. Hot Tub Time Machine, meanwhile, still the time machine despite relying on a bunch of youth all of a sudden. Meanwhile, Zacharou continues to keep the playoff hopes alive as he picks up the dub over Crystal, knocking her out of the playoff hopes and drive and contention, folks. This was a big one. Spoiler for the standings. Crystal's out of there after losing 127 to 93.4. Crystal's high-scoring squad just couldn't get it done when it mattered, folks. But Zach's team, despite having an old name, put out a new hat as Kyler Murray dropped 26. Michael Thomas decided to show why he's a number one wide receiver, and even Zach's bench looks lively going into the stretch run. Meanwhile, Crystal's team, Christian McCaffrey still tried to take it on his back, but little white boy with legs just wasn't enough as the rest of Crystal's team petered out, baby. Crystal lost steam in the end, probably, maybe, still the highest scoring team of the year to this point. We'll find out later. Sadly, won't be going to the playoffs. Zacharou, the hopes are still alive. But let's roll on as we see Aldo playing spoiler against Ricky G. Rick Herron himself takes an L to Aldo, who since surrendering has been doing pretty good. Aldo finally doesn't score well, and it doesn't matter because his opponent decided to take a crap. Just the old, wait. Is that how this works? Taking a crap is bad. Taking a crap on somebody is good. Okay. Let's clarify. As we roll on, you'll see Deshaun Watson decided to spread the diarrhea all over the field. 4 points. Jack Doyle, a 0. And yet Aldo still picks up the dub thanks to Alvin Kamara remembering who he is. Marvin Jones thinking he's someone else with some big days. And Ricardo's team just lack luster all around and down. Godwin just trying to get some of that steam back. Cook with a solid day, but you don't like to see a deuce from a receiver. You don't like to see single digits from the flex. No, these aren't healthy scores, folks. He had some juice on the bench, but the man wasn't going to start these jamokes, no. As you look over on this other side, all those team scoring well all year, getting crapped on. All in all, he'll be a real contender in the Battle Royale as Ricky G sets his sights on the playoffs. Spoiler. Stay tuned for the standings. As we look at the last matchup of Week 11, Danny Boy doesn't have to retire forever because he laid the smack down on CJ's terrible ass, 168 to 97, putting CJ even further into the gutter. Still not quite last place, and elevating himself to 8-3 with a hot sauce high-scoring performance of the week. As we see Josh Allen decided to try to shoulder the load for C Jizzle one more time, but it wasn't enough to even get over the century mark or to have a hope of matching hot sauce Jets Jets as the Jets combined with the defense, Bell, Donald, and the rest of the cast and the crew. Calvin Ridley, look at these guys, all flying high for Danny Boy, taking a shite all over CJ, reminding him just who the juice is around here, and that's Danny Boy is your daddy, CJ. Now, CJ, your only hope is to save face in the Battle Royale, but we all know you're going to lose that and be paying to ship the belt. That's right, let's take a look at the standings real quick here, as we have one week left before the playoffs start, and only 4 teams go to the playoffs, folks. As you can see, Hot Chub Time Machine, Ricky G, and Danny Boy all clinched playoff berths. Who has not clinched? The reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Heroes of Fantasy, Adrian and Tyree. They are sitting at 7-4. A loss will drop them to the same record as all these other jabrones, sitting at 6-5. We got an exciting final week, as you'll see Zach, as you'll see Matt Segovia, as you'll see Babaru, Roberto, all have a shot at the playoffs. They need to pick up W's. They gotta hope Adrian loses. And Bob, for the love of humanity, gotta put in all your dudes, because those points might matter as a tiebreaker, baby. Anyway, as you'll see here, sadly, Crystal, Freddie, and all these other jabrones below him eliminated from playoff contention. But never fear, remember, there is the Battle Royale, where in the last 4 weeks of the season, you will be competing to score the highest point total you can. Whatever team scores the most points in the final 4 weeks of the season will claim the Battle Royale title and win some cash. Last place in the Battle Royale will officially be last place in the Heroes of Fantasy League and be shamed and have to pay to ship that championship title to whoever wins. And the only way you're getting out of that is if Adrian somehow wins again. And then you don't gotta ship the belt to anyone but himself, daddy. Listen, there's a lot of sauce left in this league. Don't give up. Pick up those players. Push. Get ready for the Battle Royal. Get ready for the playoff push. Because you know anything could happen. Dudes could score 300. You never know. And let's take a look at the upcoming matchups for this week. I didn't mean to click on that. Please hold. Nothing gets dick harder than a little hot competition. Let's take a look at some of these matchups. This isn't working for me. Please hold. We're clicking the wrong buttons. This is like technical difficulties. How much am I paying these guys? As we see, Danny Boy plays against the Forces female. Not much on the line here other than bragging rights, as Crystal's already out of it, and Danny Boy's already locked in the position. But this is a clash of very trash-talking proportions, as Danny Boy surely wants to lay the smackdown on Crystal. And Crystal, that's fine. Al won't let her hear the end of it, that he beat Danny and Crystal couldn't, and meow meow. Anyway, Oscarito can play spoiler against Matt Segovia. Oscar can pick up the dub, knock Matt out of the playoff picture. Or can Matt Segovia reach for the brass ring? Is it golden or is it brass? I don't care. He'll reach up, he'll grab it, he'll pull it down. Baby, can he do it? As we keep going on, no chance in hell. CJ's shitty-ass team. Can it be any more poetic than this? Adrian, the reigning, defending champion, faces CJ. The worst team in the league, the biggest piece of poo-poo there is, CJ, is the only hope these other teams have that Adrian might slip out of that playoff picture. Adrian, no pressure. If you lose to the worst team in the league, you're out of the playoffs probably. I couldn't write it better myself. Meanwhile, Steven Naramore, the real Flash Gordon, takes on Ricky G in a matchup of trash-talking proportions as they posture themselves for the upcoming weeks. Freddie goes against Babalu trying to play spoilers as we hope that Sanu can carry him to victory since he hasn't done anything yet. We'll see. Meanwhile, Ezekiel Elliott's still warming up. Freddie getting ready for the bowl, hoping to play spoiler. We'll see if he can keep those playoff hopes alive by picking up the dub over Freddie. Bob's got some work to do. Aldo and Al play in a matchup of ineptitude, baby. Who will suck less? And get ready for that bowl action. We'll find out, baby. And yeah, I believe Al and Crystal, who's going to have a better record at the end of this? Loser sleeps on the couch, baby, while Zach pins his playoff hopes on picking up a dub against the first place Destroyers. The first place Hot Chub Time Machine J, Sex, Jonathan, J, Ezekiel, Sexton in first place. Will he pick up an L and give Zach hopes, or will he get the dub and go into the playoffs hot and heavy and knock Zach back down into the Battle Royale? We'll find out this week, folks. And before we go, let's take a look real quick. Just real quick. Who is the highest scoring team right now? Going into last week, Hot Chub Time Machine took it over from Crystal. Zacharoo up there, baby, climbing the ranks. And you gotta remember who's getting the shit on the most. Oh, Poor Oscar, getting shit on the most next to Aldo and that jamoke CJ. But CJ wasn't going to win anything anyway, so who cares, baby? Now get out there, stand tall like only Dick can, and get ready, because the playoffs are coming.